This week I'm driving the 2022 Genesis G70 Sport. For 2022, there's a brand new refresh, redesign for the G70. As you can notice now, we can really tell it's a Genesis with those new headlights. I really like that new front end. You can really notice it's a Genesis. The previous generation of the G70 looks kind of fade, looks like any sedan. Now it really looks like a Genesis. Brand new grille also, all in black, because this is the sport model. So design wise, I think it's a big thumbs up for this new generation. If we step on the side, we've got some 19 inches wheel. Those are kind of like really dark gray. They're not actually black. Really good looking wheel. You can notice also the red Brembo brakes, and we've got some extra cooling here with this hair opening right here. It's a real one, it's not a fake one. That's pretty rare these days. On the side, it's the same design as the previous year. And if we step in the back of this G70, really like that trunk. This is my kind of trunk, I could say. As you can notice, in the shape of the trunk, we've got kind of like an integrated spoiler. I really like those little details in the design. And finally, we've got a dual exhaust in the back to hear the sweet sound of your G70 Genesis. Trunk wise, it's not the biggest in its class, but decent amount of space. You can carry a couple of golf bags inside of this. But trunk wise, it's pretty much what you can expect out of this type of sedan. If we step in the back, there's not a ton of space. I'm not able to fit behind myself. As you can notice now, I barely fit. My head is touching the roof. My legs are also touching the front seats. So not a ton of space, I could say. Something I noticed also inside of this Genesis, we've got some controls to move the front seats. These kind of controls are really popular in the Asian market, because most, car owners in Asia, they have a chauffeur, and they're sitting in the back, and they like to adjust the front seat. So when a car is really popular in Asia, that's kind of like some gadget you'll find inside of these luxury sedans. Under the hood of the G70, we can find a V6 3.3 liter twin turbo, good for 365 horsepower and 376 foot-pounds of torque. Because this one's a sport version, we've got 3 extra horsepower due to the variable exhaust. There's a valve inside of the exhaust, which is going to give you more flow and more sound. We'll see later if there's more sound to it. This engine is matched with 8-speed transmission, same kind of powertrain we can find under the hood of a Kia Stinger. Good powertrain, but is it enough to compete against the Cadillac, BMWs, and Mercedes-Benz of this world? Alright, so G70 Sport, it's the sport version. I'm gonna test the acceleration. This thing's got the launch control. Gonna put it in Sport Plus. Let's go. Yeah, not bad. You've got a pretty decent, all-wheel drive system on these Genesis. Really a sporty all-wheel drive, I could say. Pretty strong, not really aggressive, I could say, on the first, gear. It's not really raw, I could say, but still pretty decent. You can do the 0 to 100 kilometers in about 4.5 seconds. These kind of numbers you can expect out of these kind of like performance sedan. Handling wise, you can feel this all-wheel drive system can let you have some fun. You can feel it's gonna put some power in the back. It's not the typical, boring all-wheel drive. You feel, it's a sporty all-wheel drive, I could say. I never drove a Genesis during winter time. I would like to see how this thing reacts, is if this thing is more tail happy. Now I'm approaching my famous curve where I test all my cars. I already drove the BMW M340i. It was really quick, one of the quickest in that curve. Also, the Cadillac CT5V was pretty amazing, especially with the magnetic ride. We'll see if this thing can compete against those Germans, an American luxury brand. Let's do a little downshift here. Pretty good, pretty decent. We've got some really good Michelin, you know, on this car. It's pretty sharp, not as sharp as the BMW. You know, the all-wheel drive works pretty well. But once again, you know, if you step, you know, in the Cadillac CT5V, you've got so many options to play with the suspension and also the traction control. You've got pretty much the same traction control you'll find in a Chevrolet Corvette. So, you know, Genesis does the job, but it's not equal or superior to the BMW or Cadillac. Suspension-wise, comfort-wise on the road, you know, good seats, and also the suspension is a good mix in between, you know, good handling and comfort-wise, so nothing's to complain here. Also, when you put it in sport mode, the seats come a little bit tighter, you got more support on the side. A little bit like in the BMW, I was surprised to find this option inside of a Genesis this week. Speaking of the interior, really nice interior, really nice finish. A lot of details. You got that suede on the roof, you know, a lot of materials. Good looking interior, and also a simple interior to use. It's user friendly, not like the German products, you know, with the mouse pad and all the fancy complicated stuff. Everything is plain and simple. I like that. You've got a button for your heated seats, another one for your cool seats, another one for the steering wheel. Everything is easy to use. If you don't like those infotainment hard to use, the Genesis will please you. A couple of things Genesis could have done better a little bit. You know, the screen it's not really big. You know, these days it's a big competition. Like, who's got the best screen? Who's got the biggest one? It's pretty small, you know, for a luxury brand. You got a nice place to put your phone to recharge it wirelessly. Fuel economy wise, this week I was averaging around 11 liters per 100 kilometers. It's, you know, average for this type of car, you know, all-wheel drive, performance engine and all that. So, you know, nothing really special there to expect any really good, you know, numbers of fuel economy. It's, you know, it's typical for this kind of like cars. Speaking of price, you can get a base G70 around 45,000, and the model I'm driving this week, it's 59,000 Canadian. It's a pretty well equipped car. You've got heated seats in the back, you've got the sunroof and all that. That's one thing with Genesis, you know, when you pay that price, it comes fully equipped. So that's a big plus. This is where Genesis makes, you know, a big point on the market. You know, with this price point, with a fully equipped car, they're really cheaper than the Germans and all that. You know, if you're looking at the BMW M340i with kind of like the same equipment, it's going to be around 75,000. It's always about, you know, 10 to 15,000 more. I think this car can compete, you know, directly with the Cadillac CT5V. A lot of people forget about the Cadillac products. You know, you can get a V series for a base price of 55,000, and about the same equipment as this G70. It's about 63,000. So not a big gap, I could say. For this kind of price range, I could say I prefer the Cadillac products. I think the mechanic, the transmission, you know, and also comfort-wise and all that, the suspension, the magnetic ride, and all the technical stuff, you know, it was a little bit, you know, better from my point of view. But still, the Genesis is a solid product all around for the price. If you're not picky for the engine, the transmission, and all the technical things, you know, it's a good overall car. If you're super picky for the handling, you should probably choose the BMW. If you want something, you know, more in between, you know, not fancy BMW and expensive to maintain, but still have some nice suspension, nice engine and all that, you should consider the Cadillac. But if you just want to have like something good all around, probably cheap to maintain, also good looking, the Genesis is the right choice for you. Overall, I think the Genesis, you know, should have a little bit more spice, you know, just to be able to compete with those Cadillac and BMWs. A little bit more horsepower, a little bit more exhaust note, just a little bit more aggressive, just to be able to compete, to be at the same level as those other, you know, luxury brand. It's just a little bit too close to the Kia Stinger from my point of view. It needs that luxury performance, you know, next level to be, you know, really superior to the Kia Stinger to make that big difference. Of course, from my point of view, this car looks way better inside and out than the Kia Stinger. That's a no-brainer. But performance-wise, there's not a big gap, I could say. This one feels a little bit better, but, you know, there's not a huge difference between those two models. So let me know in the comments, do you think Genesis can compete with the Germans, the Cadillac and all that? I would like to see your opinion on this subject. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share my video, and we're gonna see each other on the next review.